Technology is the most powerful change in the world of education.
Everything changes.
Welcome to the Emerging Technologies in Education podcast, delivered to you by Clever Books Company.
Dear listeners, thank you very much for joining Emerging Technologies in Education podcast. Our guest today is Jenna. Hi Jenna, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
That's brilliant. So I'm going to give the word to Jenna to tell where she's coming from and what she's doing in life and professionally.
Sure. So I am from Wisconsin in the United States, and I have been in education for 20 years. I taught at the elementary level in grades kindergarten through 6th grade for approximately 11 years. Then I worked for Marian University in Wisconsin and taught in the graduate program for educational technology. I did that for 8 years. I have been a consultant with the International Society for Technology and Education, as well as other different organizations that are based around educational technology for several years. And for the past couple of years, I have been working in a small school district as an instructional technology specialist, helping all of the teachers K through 12 to integrate technology in their classrooms and engage students in innovative and creative learning opportunities.
Wow, that's impressive background. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be a little bit extra, but I'm still going to ask you the traditional question. What's your attitude towards technology in education and why?
Sure. So I believe that technology is a catalyst for learning. It is an opportunity for students to use tools to become innovative designers of their own education, where they can explore things that are of their interest, that really excite them, and allow them to become global learners instead of the traditional, what we saw in the 20th century, where we were very eccentric in our own four walls. And so I believe that technology is a great way for kids to really explore and learn more about the world around them.
That's great. Thanks, Emil. So then I would like you to probably elaborate a little bit more. Is there any specific particular technologies that you would think could benefit the using in the classroom or for home education? Why is that? Or maybe you would like to share like some examples and or some specific resources like blogs or maybe websites you're reading where people can get the information from.
Sure. I think the key pieces to look at is when you're looking at technology is first looking at a learning management system, something that's going to allow the students to take their learning outside the four walls so it becomes anytime, anywhere. So cloud-based learning tools, for example, Google Classroom, Schoology, Canvas, Moodle, any of those types of online learning management systems where students can continue to have conversations outside of the classroom with their peers. They can access resources, materials, videos that really allow them to extend their learning beyond the four walls. Another awesome tool is the idea of virtual reality or virtual field trips and allowing students to explore, whether it be through a computer where they're using Google Maps and Google Earth or Google Moon, and they're going out and they're learning about other places. They're actually able to see if, for example, I have a high school class, they just finished up Romeo and Juliet. We can take them right to the Globe Theater and let them see what that looks like from a perspective of being there in London. Other field trips, taking kids to, you can do a virtual field trip to the ocean, and Google Expeditions and many other different companies have a variety of virtual field trips that students can explore, and they don't have to have those really cool virtual goggles. although that sometimes helps, bring it to life. You can still do it on your device and see things from your device. But to put them into an ocean and let them see what the reef would look like if they were off the coast of Australia, what does that Great Barrier Reef look like, really brings that and makes that learning real and authentic. One of the other big things that supports that idea of that anytime, anywhere is the idea of using e-textbooks. And a lot of the books now have additional pieces that are embedded in there, whether it be videos or maps that they can click on to see. For example, I have a group of social studies students that are looking at the Mediterranean and the countries around the Mediterranean, and how those civilizations developed because of the water resources and the rivers that are there. And they're able to go back and click on those maps, those that oftentimes are now archived as paper, but when we turn them into a digital artifact, the students can interact with that map. So those would be the big tools that I think are really impacting the way our students are able to engage in their learning.
Impressive. That's bravo from my side. Like a lot of tools that you definitely can recommend for the educators to use, and like a lot of experience. And I totally agree with you. Like when I was at school, we didn't have this technology, and traveling to the theater or going somewhere like to the seaside, ocean, or going, I don't know, like traveling to a different country. It was just, by looking through the atlas and pictures, things like this. But nowadays, it's just amazing how much we could give the kids and how much we can actually introduce the information to them and in different formats. That's impressive. Thanks, Emil.
Exactly.
Then another question to you. Like, I see that you are really definitely like pro technology. You use a lot of that, and but sometimes we meet people who would say like, "This is not for me. I'm not interested in that. I think it's not the thing that needs to be done in the classroom." Or maybe they are looking for different types of excuses not to use it. I would like to get your opinion on like, what do you think of that, and what do you normally tell people who have this opinion, like, I reject using technology in the classroom? What do you normally tell them?
Sure. So I always say that technology is a tool. There's a time and place for it. One of the amazing tools that I really like to use with my teachers is actually something that doesn't even have a lot of digital technology in it, but it promotes creativity, it promotes collaboration, it promotes critical thinking or problem solving, and that is the breakout box, which is a box that has anywhere between 3 locks or 6 locks on it that students need to solve a series of puzzles in order to open the box. So, but the puzzles might be looking at a poem and trying to find the clues within a poem, or looking at a map, an actual paper map, and having to follow the map and get your character around a map. And in that, you figure out a direction. What direction is your character going? And that clue is going to open a direction lock. So I always say technology does have a place and time. And when you're using something like the breakout box, you don't have to use digital tools. It can be a very hands-on, great learning opportunity where we're learning what we would oftentimes refer to as those soft skills, that collaboration, communication, problem solving, or critical thinking piece. And so there are times that we have people who are very against technology to the point where they will really avoid trying to use it at all in the classroom. And I always try to talk to them about, that how are you using the other tools then to support the student learning, to promote these other soft skills? And how can we use, is maybe if there is something that when we're working with kids that even though we might ask them to write a paper, it is still important to teach them typing skills. In fact, and I apologize, I can't cite the exact study right now, but there was a study done on students in the elementary levels that were doing those online standardized testing. And students who are learning the typing skills, which is a digital tool, students who learn the typing skills outperform their peers who are not learning typing skills. So for example, a fourth grader who can type 20 words per minute is going to outperform their peer who doesn't type at all. Because when you think about it, a student who is hunting and pecking on a keyboard to type their message, their response to that digital assessment, when they're trying to type, they're taking up valuable time hunting and pecking for keys. Whereas a student who has some knowledge of typing and has developed those skills is able to type faster. They can get their thoughts onto the keyboard much better and more efficiently. So I remind teachers that it is a tool. And if we take away a pencil and paper, what are we giving students in return in order to learn and produce their product? If it's not a keyboard and a computer, then what else can we give them? Because all students need these tools to be able to go out into the workforce when they graduate high school, to be, I know it's cliche, college and career ready, but we really do want our kids to be college and career ready. We want them to be successful no matter if they go to a 2-year college, 4-year college, beyond that, or if they go right into the workforce. They need to be prepared. And every job that is out there today is something that has been developed over time. And as we see each day, new jobs are being created. And we don't know what jobs our kids that are graduating in 2023 or 2025 are going to have. So when I meet those people, to go back to your question, when I meet those people who tell me that they don't want to use tech, I try to talk to them about, well, why are they not? And what are they doing to provide these opportunities? And are there tools that we really can be using that they find that really, yeah, it is meaningful. We do need to do things. So.
Yeah, I'm totally on your side here. You're so right. We don't know which jobs would be in 2023 or even in 2020 because the world is changing so quickly. And no matter now even where you go, for which job you go, there is typing skill that is really needed. So well, like really pointed on that. It's a useful skill that is really needed. And if we just let them only write on a paper, it's not gonna be helpful for the future. That's absolutely right. And one more question, if you allow me. So just taking advantage you are in the US, can you tell me a little bit more information on how does it look in the US? How many schools are actually adopting using tech in education, and how do you see that going in the future?
Sure. So in the United States, we have a very strong, I'll speak from a little bit of my perspective of when I was working with the International Society for Technology and Education. A lot of people know it as ISTE. ISTE has come out with, in the past few years, they've been refreshing their technology standards. And in 2016, they refreshed the student standards. In 2017, they refreshed the teacher standards, now called the educator standards. And they are working through the administrative and the computer science pieces as well. So those standards are driving a lot of the way schools are using and their reasons for using technology. There's also, we have, at the national level, we have what's called the Future Ready Framework. And this framework is what is helping schools to become future ready, looking at their infrastructure, looking at their hardware, their software, looking at their teaching practices and their leadership, looking at their budgets and how they're spending their money on different tools. And both of those frameworks, along with a wonderful group, it's called the Consortium of School Networks, COSN, C-O-S-N, all of those groups are really working together to bring those standards, those expectations of what digital literacy, digital learning should look like in K-12 classrooms. And so that's going down. And so now in the state of Wisconsin, we just had a revision on our technology standards, which are based very much off of the ISTE standards. We call them our Information Technology Literacy, ITL standards. We also have our digital learning plan for the state. So we have at the national level, we have these guidelines, which are really, helping the states as well as the schools and the districts to look at and examine how are they delivering education in 2017 and what should it look like in 2020? What do we want it to look like in 2022? So 3 to 5 years out, where do we want our students to be and how are we delivering that? So we have these wonderful sets of guidelines, and I've seen that across the nation on how more and more people are going, more and more schools are going to mobile learning and are really encouraging kids to use a variety of tools. And rather than just focusing on, say, we're going to just use Apple iDevices such as the iPads, or we're just going to use Windows tablets. I see more and more schools becoming what I would say a device neutral environment where students can use any tool with any software, any hardware, any software in order to deliver their knowledge, in order to create those different projects. So, which is great to see, because then therefore we are creating those kids who can go out into the workplace and be prepared to work in any type of environment with any type of digital tool.
I highly appreciate your insight. I think it's just brilliant, and you're so knowledgeable. And it looks like it's a main trend right now in all over the world. But rare country really has like more deep insight and like proper strategy on how to implement that. But it's so good to see that like in the US, there's so many things done towards using technology in education and towards promoting that. So I really like the information you've given and the insight, and I feel it's like really inspirational for other countries and educators from other countries who would be listening to us. And I think it's quite a good bunch of information. So I will try to find everything and put that underneath this podcast so people can get the links to the tools that you mentioned there. Thank you very much for that.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jenna, for your time. I really appreciate the information you've given, and I wish you to have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this. I look forward to hearing it when it's all put together and done.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yes. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Everything changes.